We are back on Inside Politics today. Our guest is MTSU political science professor Dr. John Vile. We're talking about the outcome of the presidential race, which looks a bit more clear that Joe Biden may be the next president, but it's not clear exactly yet. Nothing's been called as we have this conversation on Friday morning. Dr. Vile, there was so much written and said that this election was going to be the most consequential of our lifetime. But is that what happened looking back at the results? Was this the most consequential election we've ever seen while we've been on this earth?
Well, two things. Let me quote from something I heard from John Meacham, who's a national resident now, who said that many close elections in American history have still been consequential. So, that's probably the first thing to say. But to answer, what's odd about this election, it's going to be one of the few where a president is going to be coming in with, the support probably of one house, but less than what he was anticipating, and probably continuing control of the U.S. Senate. And my own interpretation, which may be wrong, but my own interpretation is the country is more moderate than Donald Trump, and it's also more moderate than many liberal Democrats. And that both sides, both sides may have a lesson to learn.
Yeah, I was going to ask you the question in terms of consequences in the immediate situation for politics. Joe Biden had no coattails. He did not get the Democrats over the top in the Senate unless they take both races in Georgia, and even then it's a 50-50 split. That won't be much power. He also the House actually went backwards. They lost seats. Is it also because Americans seem to like the idea of divided government? They don't want one party to be in control of everything in Washington?
It's possible. Now, one other thing to look at, particularly when you think about the Senate, the Senate may reflect some of the same bias that you see in the Electoral College, which is to say, you either get a state or you don't get a state, as a Senate. And in most races, you can look at whoever won the presidency in that state is also staying in control of the Senate. And Trump actually will win more states than Biden. But Biden will win the ones that have more Electoral College votes.
If Donald Trump is no longer president, what's the future of the Republican Party? There'll be a new titular leader of the party. It'll go back to being Mitch McConnell, who's been reelected, and assuming the Republicans organize the Senate, he'll be the majority leader. But what happens to the Republican Party? Is there going to be a power vacuum? And we all know that power abhors a vacuum. Does that mean we're going to have some sort of unrest going on in the Republican Party, a battle for power, for control?
I think so. Of course, one of the questions is what's Trump going to do? And there some speculation is that he might, take over Rush Limbaugh's place, or try to buy Fox News, or have an outlet where he would continue to have a platform. But I think the real question that the Republican Party needs to answer is: Are they going to go with someone who, like a Lindsey Graham, for example, who pretty much 90% of the time or more has supported Trump, or are they going to go to someone like a Mitt Romney or a Sass, or someone who's been on the sidelines being at least somewhat critical of Trump? Pence, I guess, would be the most obvious, apart from Trump himself would probably be the most obvious.
Mitch McConnell and Joe Biden served together for many years in the Senate. Are they going to be able to work together? There's been some talk. First, McConnell says he's now open for another relief package for COVID, and perhaps during this lame duck session. But I've also heard he may decide to block any cabinet appointments that Biden has if he thinks they're too extreme. What's going to be the working relationship, because they're the two most powerful men in Washington?
One distance that McConnell has had from the president is McConnell apparently doesn't visit the White House because he didn't think it was safe for coronavirus. So he's taken a different attitude toward wearing masks and social gathering and that sort of thing. I don't know McConnell as well as his record as a congressman as much as I do Biden's. Biden has a long-standing reputation of being able to work across the aisle. As you're pointing out, it takes two to tango, and so I'm not sure what McConnell's attitude will be.
It's clear in this election that Americans are perhaps more divided and politically deadlocked than we've ever been. is perhaps the biggest challenge for Joe Biden when he comes in, figuring out a way to get America to come back together again?
I think so. It reminds me of, if you wanted to go to another period where the nation was really divided, was, in the time running up to Richard Nixon's resignation. And if you remember, when Ford came in, he said, "I'm a Ford, not a Lincoln." And by that, he meant, don't expect great new programs here. I'm sort of a caretaker. I'm a transition. And, chances are, I think there's a good chance that Biden would only serve a single term, if that. And so if he does nothing other than calm the waters, I think that would be a significant contribution at this time.
So what you're also saying is the 2024 presidential election is already well underway on both parties, and it's going to be another interesting 4 years in Washington, to be sure.
Yes, I don't, as a political scientist, I think there'll be continued employment if I want it.
Thank you, Dr. Val. Appreciate you being with us. Always great to have you on the show.
Same here.
That's Inside Politics for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you'll be back here again for a future show. If you can't get to politics in the meantime, go to News 25 website. You'll find my Capitol View commentary there. Zoo commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We need it. And see you here next time. Goodbye.